Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. I'm so excited to be able to answer a couple questions that you guys sent in. I thought it'd take a month to get enough questions to actually do a video, but I got 2 right away, so I'm really excited. Thank you. Of course, they're both about nutrition, so I'm going to try to blend them in together. I'm going to talk about it from kind of a broad perspective for people just starting out, and then drill down about the macros after that. So the first question is from Michael, and he says, what do you think is the best way to plan a new nutrition plan? Keep in mind that I want to tone up and build muscle while taking off fat at the same time. I want to increase my flexibility. I started swimming and have been biking for about 8 months. As far as a nutrition plan, I would suggest kind of what I'm doing overall. I think it works for everybody. Lean proteins, complex carbs, couple servings of green veggies every day, and then a few servings of good fats. You know, I've laid it out on the website under diet, I believe, on the main homepage. But you can also, there's a couple of books that I highly recommend, and I'll include links in the post for these. And Michael, they do have a men's version of this. In fact, I think it was the first version, and they adapted it for women. But it's very similar. Because you're a male and you carry more muscle on your frame, and you're just probably bigger in general, obviously, you'll probably need more calories. But overall, the concept is the same. And so you want to, get rid of saturated fat. You want to get rid of sugar. You want to get rid of processed stuff. So for complex carbs, I think that's a really hard one for a lot of people, dropping the bread. You can still do bread, just do it in moderation. Don't have it, for 3 or 4 servings every day. Do brown rice, do sweet potatoes. You can even do a little bit of whole wheat pasta as long as you watch the portion size, no more than about a half a cup. So it takes, a little getting used to, and the first 2 weeks are kind of hard, but really these plans are laid out all over the place. You can just sort of pick and choose what you want to do based on the food. In fact, the Body Sculpting Bible for men and women has a very detailed list of foods that are approved and not approved, what their glycemic index is, which kind of talks about the amount of sugar that gets converted to fat in them and when you should eat them. There are some that are high in glycemic value, but they're great for post-workout, such as fruits. That's one that I usually save for pre-workout, first thing in the morning, and post-workout. So, it's all laid out in great detail. Of course, my meal plan is all laid out in great detail. I post on Facebook all the time the stuff that I'm eating. So, it's kind of the same thing we've all heard about since 5th grade when they talked about the food groups, chicken breast and broccoli and brown rice, or, a whole wheat pita with greens and turkey and, spicy mustard or something that doesn't have fat in it. So it's kind of, for me, I feel like it's a no-brainer. I know for you guys that are just starting out, it's not. But there's so many great resources out there you can find that I really, really hope that you'll be able to glean something from those and kind of customize it, for the foods that you like. As far as the building muscle while taking off fat, this is where you have to have some patience. If you've ever watched The Biggest Loser or any of those, weight loss shows, they're taking off weight just for the sake of weight, and they're doing it with really low calories. And unfortunately, that takes a lot of muscle with it. So you don't want to do that if you're wanting to hang on to what you've got and build more. So you just have to be patient. It took me a year to drop 23 pounds of fat. An entire year, and I'm, and a little beyond that, quite frankly, because I was able to go further than I thought. So just hang in there and stay consistent, eat that way. And as a guy, you're going to have a natural advantage. You're just built to carry more muscle on your frame and less fat. Us females, unfortunately, are wired to have more fat on us, so it takes a little more effort. So hopefully for you, it'll come quickly, and if you just, stay consistent on it, it should be fine. As far as the flexibility, I don't have a lot of detail on that for you. I've done yoga. I think that's probably a great option to explore. I think the swimming and the biking is outstanding. I think swimming is wonderful. It's good for resistance. It's great for all-around conditioning, and it's a life skill. So, I think that is a pretty good, as far as exercises all in one package, and it's easy on the joints. It's easy on the joints for old people like me. I don't know how old you are, but I think it's a really good alternative or an option if that's what you're into. And I think biking's great too. Of course, I'm really, really, really gonna, be in for the resistance training for weightlifting, because as you get older, your muscles deteriorate just naturally, and your bone density sort of it gets reduced. And in order to keep that up, weightlifting is the way to go. And if you want to build muscle and lose fat, it's really, really going to accelerate your progress, because once you build that muscle mass, you're walking around with onboard fat burners. And what's easier than that, burning fat while, resting? So I think that's something I would highly recommend to you. And the next question sort of folds into this, and this is from Nancy, and she says, I hear a lot about macros, and I know what they are, but I don't know how to figure out my macro amount. And when I first started out, quite frankly, I used my book and the Body Sculpting Bible for Women. Again, I'm going to reference it because I think it's just such a great, thorough reference. I wish I was getting kickbacks for it. That'd be great, because I tell so many people about it. But in here, it's the same thing. As far as the macros go, I'm really hardcore on a couple of the things, and that is to have protein at every single meal. I eat protein 6 times a day, sometimes 7, depending on if I stay up later than normal. And it's usually between 17 and 20 grams. The way you figure that out is you'll need 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So let's take 140 pounds, for instance. If you weigh 140 pounds, you're going to need 140 grams of protein per day. And the way you figure that out per meal is you divide that by the number of meals that you're going to eat. In my case, it's 6 or 7. I'm kind of an estimating kind of gal. I'm not super, fine on the figuring. So between 17 to 23 grams is what I prefer. And I do that for every single meal. And that's really, 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 really important if you want to gain mass and you want to lose fat. As far as the complex carbs, I do eat those for most of my meals during the beginning part of the day. So for breakfast, post-workout, lunch, mid-afternoon snack, those all contain carbs. After my mid-afternoon snack around 3 o'clock, beyond there, I switch out the carbs with fats. And that's a serving of fat. So in my case, it would be 2 tablespoons of peanut butter or a tablespoon and a half of olive oil if I'm cooking, or it could be a quarter to a half of an avocado, just depending on how the day's going. I kind of, mix and match and tweak and alter just depending on how things are going meal-wise for me. And you'll learn to do that as you go down the road. But the hard and fast rule is just have enough protein at every sitting. That's a big one. And most people don't do that, and they don't have that. I've got a link that I'll include in the post, not only for the books, but also for the protein post that I wrote up that talks about each individual source of protein and how many grams it has, so that you'll be safe. I mean, there's so many options. I think it'll be fine for you. As far as the carbs, brown rice, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, I've started including those every now and then just to cycle them through to do something different. A piece of sprouted grain toast. Those are kind of my mainstays. I'm sort of like the Rain Man when it comes to eating. I don't have any problem eating the same thing over and over again, but there's all kinds of options out there. You can do whole wheat pasta like I talked about, and then just a couple of servings of the good fats. So I hope that answers your question. Of course, my diet page is on the homepage of the website, and it talks about my meal plans in detail. If you have more specific questions, let me know, and we can certainly address that. And I can address it here if this hasn't been covered well enough for you. But anyway, I highly recommend just going with the basics for now. See how that goes. Like I said, the first 2 weeks can be really a challenge. But once you get past that, your body stops craving the bad food and starts craving the good food. It's really kind of an amazing, miraculous thing that happens, and it makes it so much easier. And you'll be feeling so much better, and already starting to notice a difference in your appearance, probably too. That momentum will just keep you going. So that's my story on macros and on nutrition. And I hope you guys can glean something positive from this, and it helps kind of kickstart you back into where you need to be. Talk to you later. Thanks.